industrial bathroom. It is fucking gross. I mean, it really is. Like, imagine a nasty, like, gas station bathroom, one of the grossest you ever seen, and these fuckers are in here. And they're both chained to pipes at opposite corners of the room. So you got Carrie Elwes or Dr. Gordon on one side of the room, and then you've got Adam on the other side of the room. And, you know, out of their reach is a body that's laying right in the middle of them in a pool of blood, which, by the way, gradually gets bigger as this movie goes on. And did you guys notice that? Blake, I don't know if you'd remember, but Vic, did you notice that when you watched it?
What's that?
That the pool of blood underneath the body in the middle of the room kept getting bigger as the movie went on?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, goddamn, this motherfucker bled out.
Yes.
Jesus. Well, I mean, the thought process here, we'll get into a little bit, but, you know, the thought process is this guy fucking blew his brains out. Anyway, so this guy's holding a gun, and he's got a micro cassette recorder, and you know, both men, they kind of reach into their pocket, and they realize they've got envelopes in their pockets, and both of them have micro tapes, and I'm talking old school, click the button, do the interview type thing, micro tapes. Those things are fucking sweet, I have to say. I still think to this day, those things are awesome. I just like them. It reminds me of Puppet Master, because I watched that recently where that guy's, like, recording all this sexual activity with his wife. I was amused. Just like, it's like, she's going to try to touch base with the spirit that had intercourse in this bed. Also, she's going to tie me up now. Yeah. So that's what it reminded me of. But, yeah, does anybody use these fucking microcassette recorders anymore, or do they just do everything digitally?
Well, they probably do. I've seen some, and they're actually, if you have them in good shape, they're actually worth a little bit of money. But yeah,
it's funny because my stepson has a micro recorder, just not the actual tape for it, so it's pretty much useless. So Gordon, again the doctor, he also has a bullet and a key, which won't unlock the shackles. He tried it. Adam tried it. It won't unlock the shackles. So you're thinking, what the fuck's the key for? And what the fuck's the bullet for? And this whole thing's a game, and it's slowly unfolding. Keep in mind, pretend you haven't seen any of the other Saw movies. This is, you know, act one of all this bullshit. We've never seen this before. This is, you know, a whole new thing to us at the time. So I kind of, like, try to take my mind back to it. And I don't think I knew how to fucking grasp what I was seeing at the time. So anyway, Adam, with Dr. Gordon's help, he manages to get the tape player from the body, like he had tied a shirt to, I think it was the chain from the bathtub. Isn't that what he used?
Yeah.
So anyway, he snags this fucking tape recorder. He pulls it over to him. And, you know, you're getting a whole lot of back and forth between Adam and Gordon because, keep in mind, this is like a two-person plot right now, and you're stuck in one room. So there's not a whole lot going on. This is entirely plot-driven for the first part, and a lot of it. So they're just talking back and forth, and, you know, maybe at times a little bit too much dialogue. I don't know, but, you know, Gordon's telling him to do this and do that. And finally he gets the tape recorder. And Gordon tells him to throw him the tape recorder. And he's like, no, you throw me your tape because I don't want to fucking break it. So he throws him the tape. And he plays their tapes. And, you know, both tapes have the same voice. And you get this, you know, it's kind of distorted, but it's like this deep voice. And Adam's tape refers to him as a voyeur and asks, are you going to watch yourself die or do something about it? And Gordon's tape reveals he has to kill Adam before 6 o'clock, which is within 7 hours, because you've got this brand new clock on the wall that shows the time. Or his wife and daughter will die, and he will be left in the bathroom forever to rot, which would be fucked up way to die. You know what I mean? You sit there and starve to death, whatever the hell. What would be the quickest way to die in there? I assume it would be starve to death or just die of thirst, unless he's going to drink out of the toilet. But I don't think.
Yeah, or if you injure yourself, you just bleed out slowly over time.
Yep. Well, he says, let the game begin, the voice concludes. And you know what? When he says let the game begin, and when he says things like, I want to play a game, I go right back to Scream. I'm like, a game kicks off the Scream series, a game kicks off the Saw series. Good shit. So, you know, they play the tape again, and like Gordon hears him say something like something about in your heart, or follow your heart or something like that. So they look over to the toilet, and there's a fucking heart on the back of it, like the commode portion of the toilet. And this is by Adam right now. And so Dr. Gordon's telling him, reach in there. And, like, he's fishing around in the nastiest shit I can imagine. And, like, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't have been so gung-ho to do it. I mean, I realize he's chained up, but I would have had to, like, take a breather first. Pretty gross. So he fishes around in here. He's like, did you find anything? And he's like, not any solids. And I'm like, oh, that is gross. And then he checks the back of it, and he pulls out a bag. And in the bag are 2 hacksaws, which are like in the tank, like I said. And, both of them start trying to cut their chains with it, and it's not, like, sharp enough to cut a chain. And, Adam actually gets really pissed, and his actually breaks. And so when he's pissed, he throws it, and it kind of breaks off a piece of the mirror. And Dr. Gordon actually realizes that the saws are meant, not for the chains, but for their fucking feet, which the saw through obviously would free them from their shackles. So you've already got this idea of what, the way to get out is to do something fucking nasty, Again, that's the torture porn aspect of this whole thing right now. We haven't gotten any gore yet, but it's already alluding to it. So anyway, so then what happens is the movie kind of goes to these flashbacks of whoever had captured them, their previous victims. First, we started off with Paul and Mark, and both men had different like MOs to deal with. One, like, he was one of these fake suicide people, that was like cutting himself for attention. And so Jigsaw put him in a room and basically said, if you can crawl through this razor wire, then, we'll see if you're serious about living or dying. And then the other guy, Mark, he had been pretending that he was sick. So, like, Jigsaw doused him in flammable liquid, put glass all over the floor, and then told him he could find the combination to whatever the hell this, I think he had some sort of poison flowing through his blood. Anyway, this guy accidentally caught himself on fire. So these two guys had failed Jigsaw's test, and that's what they're calling this guy. They're calling him Jigsaw because he had cut pieces of skin from them in the shape of a jigsaw puzzle. Now, you guys, I realize we're looking ahead here. We'll get there, but I don't recall this coming back very much in the series, the jigsaw puzzle pieces. Do you? Like, they're advertising it in the new Jigsaw movie, but I don't recall it much in the series. We'll have to bring this back up again,
Yeah, I haven't watched the whole series, so I can't answer that.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out. Take a mental note, because you're more sober than I am right now, to bring up the jigsaw pieces, because I feel like it wasn't as prevalent in the future sequels, which we will get. So I'm sure everybody fucking knows that there's been 7 of them so far. Anyway, so like I said, they're calling him the Jigsaw Killer by the detectives, and you've got Tap, which is Danny Glover. You've got Singh, which is the racist Chinese name for Ken Leung, and you've got Carrie, Dina Meyer, who was in Starship Troopers. Remember her, Blake?
I do.
And we got to see her titties in Starship Troopers, didn't we? True story. That was the best part about that whole movie. She was hot back in the day. So they're investigating these murders. We barely get any of Carrie in this movie. She'll come back in the sequels. So hold on tight. We'll see her again. Well, back in the bathroom, you got Dr. Gordon, and he's talking about that they're dealing with a misnomer because he's kind of also telling the story of Jigsaw because this guy's not a killer or a serial killer or anything else, because he never actually directly murders his victims, nor he just basically puts them in situations where death isn't so much unavoidable. It's like you have a choice, but you have to go through hell to survive. Kind of like what they're in right now. It's just his MO. It shows another flashback where we're shown the police interrogation of, Jigsaw's only known survivor, which is this heroin addict named Amanda Young. Shawnee Smith, Vic, you want to tell some Shawnee Smith stories for me? Maybe involving Tobin Bell?
Yeah, sure. I met Shawnee Smith a couple years ago, and she signed my Saw poster or whatever. And then when I met Tobin Bell, he signed it, and he drew like a little arrow pointing towards her, and like made some little pervy comment on it. I don't remember exactly what it said, but he was perfect.
He just put a heart. He put a heart.
Yeah,
put an arrow and a heart to her.
Yeah. He's perfect on Shawnee Smith on my poster, and it was awesome.
Apparently James Wan had a crush on her, and that's why they cast her.
Apparently Tobin Bell did, too.
Yeah, apparently everybody did. I'm with them.
And she was awesome.
She was what?
She was in summer school.
She was in Blob, you say? I'm just trolling on you, Vic. Calm down, buddy.
I know you are.
All right. Well, okay. So the reason why Dr. Gordon's telling this story is because once upon a time they found one of his like flashlight pins. What the fuck do they call these things? The flashlight pins you use. It's called something. Doctors use it all the time. Yeah, all right. Flashlight pin. They found it at one of the crime scenes. So like they interview Dr. Gordon, and before they interview him, you actually catch a scene where he's talking about, quote-unquote, the patient, and the orderly says, his name's John, he's really interesting. And all the time, you've got another Asian chick that's just staring him down and, like, basically licking her lips at him while he's talking. I'm like, that's pretty weird, but that'll come back around. So anyway, so they interview Dr. Gordon because his pen was found at the scene, and he denies all of it. He basically has to tell his lawyer the truth that, he was shacking up with this Asian chick, or at least he was about to, whenever these murders took place. So he couldn't have been there. So he's got his alibi. But Danny Glover doesn't believe him. Tap. And, Amanda Young actually says that Jigsaw made her a better person in the end after the test. And Amanda Young's test is fucked up. Vic, since you had it, I believe, didn't you have it on your list?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on Vic's top 10 horror movie kills of all time. Would you care to go through the reverse bear trap for us?
Right now, I'd rather not. I've been drinking.
All right. Not like I haven't been drinking, you piece of shit. All right.
I have not been drinking.
Yes. Well, do you want to go through it, Blake?
No. I was just saying that I haven't been drinking.
All right. Well, just remember, I hate you both. So anyway, Shawnee Smith, she said she woke up and all she could taste in her mouth was blood and metal. And like you get this scene of her, and she's got like this device on her head that looks like a fucking bear trap. It's all trapped around her jaw, and a puppet kind of wheels into the room, and it's like telling her, I want to play a game. And basically says the thing around your mouth is like a reverse bear trap. And you see this video image of it blowing up somebody's head, or, like a mannequin head. So you realize, if this thing goes off, you're dead. That's all there is to it. It'll rip your mouth wide open, which is disgusting, I have to say, which is why it was on Vic's list.
It's awesome.
So Jigsaw, or Billy the Puppet, if you prefer, because there's this little puppet that rides around on a tricycle. It's like animatronic that kind of speaks for Jigsaw with a recorder. It's telling her that, if you've got 60 seconds to get the key to this thing out of your dead inmate's stomach, and there's a knife here. So she pulls forward, and this thing sets off, and, now she has 60 seconds to get it out. And she comes over to this guy who's supposedly dead, and he ain't dead. This motherfucker's just, like, paralyzed. And she does what she has to do. She cuts this key out of his fucking stomach, gets herself free, and then, like I said, she tells Dr. Gordon and the detectives that Jigsaw, helped her. So I guess this helped her get over her addiction because she values her life now. Going through some shit like that values her life. I don't know about you, but I would fucking move to Japan just to make sure that Jigsaw's not getting my ass again. fucking terrifying. That's why it's horror right there.